Shopify have done it again. There isn't a single team in the world who have got the combination of skill, strategy, and stunning team play to do the things that they do. Over the past year, Shopify have started to become my new favorite team, paving the future of Siege esports with their incredible approach to the game, utilizing aggression, coordination, and overwhelming utility. This is the way Siege is meant to be played, and I mean it when I say I don't think there's a single team in the history of Siege who have looked as good as Shopify do right now. So let's take a look at what they're doing right, how simple fundamentals make their matches look almost easy, and how basic droning, direction, and team play set them apart from other teams. In this video, I'll teach you the method behind the magic, how Shopify makes some of the best players in the world look downright amateur in comparison, and how you can take these concepts and implement them within your own games to see almost instant improvement. Join me as we break down 5 fundamentals pros use in every game they play, as shown by Shopify against Cloud9.
SR's 2 kills away from another kill. Oh my, serves world, and we're just living in it.
But before getting into it, if you're a fan of Siege, you know audio is a crucial part of the game. A single shot, a footstep, or a shuffle can be the difference between winning a round or dying to somebody ratting in a corner. So if you're like me, you take audio seriously in all aspects of your life, which is why I'm such a big fan of today's sponsor, Raycon. I love my Raycon Open Essential earbuds. As somebody who's often working all day on audio, I used to spend a lot of time with earbuds in, and it got to the point where the friction was actually causing me pain inside my ear canal. But now, thanks to Raycon, I don't have to worry about that. With their open, flexible hook design, the Essential Open earbuds barely feel like they're there, making them comfortable to have on no matter what I'm doing. And thanks to their 36-hour battery, which provides 8 hours of playtime, they're always ready to go, keeping me from having to worry about keeping them charged. Seriously, I love Raycon and was genuinely thrilled when they reached out to me and asked to sponsor this video. So make sure to check them out, since by supporting the sponsor, you're helping to support this channel, creating Siege content, breaking down Pro League every step of the way. Get yours today by going to buyraycon.com/highbearopen for 30% off plus free shipping when you order your pair. And now, back to the breakdown. The 2 biggest things that Shopify do better than any other team right now is playing with pace and info. Their specialty, at least on attack, is gathering info and then playing instantly off what they gather in order to maximize how much impact it has. The way they do this is with our first fundamental, pre-placed drones. Something that sounds boring, but actually has so much depth in improving your ability to play Siege. The round starts, and Canadian does nothing. He gets back on drones and just flips through 3 of them. What's going on? Why is Canadian, playing the most aggressive operator in the game, seemingly just sitting in spawn? Well, during prep phase, Shopify set these 3 pre-placed drones. These are great because they give Shopify full vision of a reading, pillar, cocktail, and longbar, but it's actually so much better than that. See, these are what we call cutoff drones. Drones that are placed in a way to give info beyond what they're able to directly see. And with just these 3 drones, Shopify give themselves info on the entire map. See, in Siege, staircases almost always function as choke points because there's only a limited number. Furthermore, this drone reading tells Shopify if anybody crosses towards Red Hall, trains, and dining from White. Well, the cocktail one does the same, but from red. With these in place, Shopify essentially have a map of the entire top 2 floors. They know if there's anyone playing up there. And with that, it makes it super easy for them to figure out what they're doing with their take. Speaking of which, Ambi's going in quick. Off spawn, he rappels up to Snowbalk and instantly takes into reading, confident in everything being clear because of the info gathered by Canadian. Great work by Shopify, establishing almost immediate upstairs control. And with that, that takes us to our next major fundamental, subscribing to Highbear on YouTube. You can do it. Just hit that little button below the video. It's so fun. It's so easy. And it makes your experience in Siege just so much better. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, you should subscribe. That would be pretty cool. But our actual next fundamental is working Vert. Even when I'm watching Pro League, I see so many people not understanding how to properly play Vert. So I'm gonna break it down here and make it super easy. Basement on Cafe has a ton of soft flooring above site. So Shopify want to use Sledge and Ramp to make things uncomfortable for Cloud9. In this round, they open up everything, and I mean everything. But there's 3 main priorities that they want to focus on. First is the double door between sites. Opening right here in front of Fireplace gives a great angle right onto the doorway, which attackers can use to control rotations between the bomb sites. In line with this, the second priority is right here above Coat and Red. Like the first spot, this vert controls a doorway, stopping defenders from rotating between the hallway and site. But it also serves another purpose. See, defenders will often play inside coat check, which gives them an angle onto site via these head holes at red wall. So by opening this vert, it serves both to control rotations and open a potential avenue to toss in smokes to block off this line of sight later in the round. Finally is above prep and bake rotate. Here, the idea is simple. If there's a bake player, the attack wants to make sure they can't leave. By covering his avenues to escape, Shopify guarantee he'll remain bake for the rest of the round. The idea is mostly just to contain rotations, not so much to get kills. So many players make this mistake, even pros, I see it all the time. But the point is to control defender rotations so they can't rotate into positions to counter the rest of your team's main push. Speaking of which, Shopify have a play in mind. See, by opening up vert and taking full control of above, they've got Cloud9 thinking they'll most likely be ending the round with a freezer drop. But Canadian has other ideas.
So, feeling pretty solid with this push so far. Spoit is already repositioned over towards the bakery. It feels like it's going to be bake takedown.
Oh, Spoit leading things off. Down goes Kobe-Lax. Kobe-Lax, I think you could make a pretty credible argument. The best fragger on the side of C9. Giddy will join him in the afterlife as Canadian gets an early kill. Usually it takes about 7 rounds for him to get that.
Shopify just bullied the bake player, with the whole team coming together to make sure Kobe-Lax has a really bad day. Remember all that vertical they made? Well, Ambi and Serve hop on the vert above prep and the rotate, holding Kobe's escape from bake. Then, Serve tosses down a flash to blind the defender, while Canadian and Spoit collapse bakery, picking up an easy opener for the attack. They don't stop there either, with Canadian going gun up to find an easy pickup against Giddy, further expanding the lead for his team, which leads us to our third fundamental, utility. We just saw it a moment ago, with Surf tossing down flashes to blind out Kobe and Bake. But this is something that's very important to get right and is useful at all points in the round. So let's take a look at another example and see how Shopify used utility in order to execute. At this point, the only thing left for Shopify to do is convert the round. To do that, they want to walk in sight and plant right here in Rice. That means Canadian needs to cross kitchen without dying, while the rest of his team holds the defense to prevent a retake. So what angles do they need to worry about? Well, first things first, they need to worry about the cross. In order to get to the plant corner, Canadian needs to cross this angle through the double door and this angle from Coat. Canadian's playing a shield, so crossing the double door angle isn't really a concern. He can kind of just stare at them as he walks. But he does need to be worried about Coat. Well, not that worried, because one simple piece of utility, a well-placed smoke grenade, easily takes care of that too, allowing him a safe cross into sight. Now, Shopify just need to hold for our retake, and this is where the rest of the vertical comes into play, along with our fourth fundamental, setting up crosses. If you take nothing else away from this video, this fundamental is probably the most important one that you can apply to so many different parts of your game. Let's take a look. Ambi holds the double door, effectively making any push through there impossible, while Rexon does the same for the site door above red. But neither one of them is holding these angles alone. By the way, notice how Ambi is holding. He doesn't just aggressively hold the angle, he instead sits back behind it. Because remember, his job isn't to get kills. He's here to control defender rotations. So by sitting back on the angle, the way it ends up working out is defenders will have their back to him when they finally walk into his line of sight, allowing for an easy pickup for the sledge. Anyways, cross angles. Neither Ambi nor Rexon are alone in these holds. So where are Surf and Spoit playing in order to support? Well, Surf is tucked close small, while Spoit sits in prep, with the point being, both players are close by to the angle the vertical player is holding. So they can swing the second they hear their teammate start to shoot. This is what's called a contact crossfire. The idea is Surf and Spoit only peek when their teammates contact their opponents. This gives them a couple major advantages in the fight. First, taking the fight together and turning a 50-50 into a 2v1. And second, knowing exactly where your opponent will be. Let's take the red hall cross, for example. Rexon holds the double door with Surf playing his contact. Rexon comms, I'm holding the doorway, so if I shoot, you swing. This way, when the contact play is tripped, Surf can swing out pre-firing the spot he knows Rexon is holding, giving him much better odds in the gunfight. Like I said earlier, this is an incredibly important fundamental that you can apply to so many aspects of your game, attack and defense. And Shopify apply it in this instance to make it genuinely impossible for Cloud9 to come back in this round. Check it out.
Pat, C9's newest addition, now under watch from Ambi, who has full control of this middle floor and has torn up most of the ground beneath him. Pat is scooted out of that position over from Freezer and now might bring the fight directly to Ambi as Silent is gone from C9. Canadian pulls off a successful plant, hat caught as he attempts to head to the top stairs. And it's Dream in a 1v5. He stares down the shield of Canadian. He'll get knocked on over, blasted, and finished off.
A big part of what makes Shopify so good is that they're always on the same page. Last round, we saw all 5 of them come together to execute a perfect bake take. The thing is, last round was pretty slow. And in this round, Shopify decide to go fast. This is something we call a pace change. The point is that by playing different styles of attacks through your attacking half, you keep the defense guessing as to what it is you'll go for. See, if all the team does is rush, it makes it pretty easy to expect that a rush is going to happen, bringing along traps, the tools, and the player positions you need to shut it down before it happens. But if a team decides to alternate between fast and slow rounds, it makes it incredibly difficult to adapt the defense to counter different styles. Round 2 sees Cloud9 defending Reading and Fireplace. Like most teams on this site, they play a vertical extension to hold Cocktail and Piano. But, well, Shopify don't care about any of that. Spoit and Canadian double up to take control of Mining and Train. This puts them just one room away from site, but Shopify can't just walk in and plant. See, these feet holes in red can see pretty much the entirety of Mining, so Cloud9 are still feeling pretty safe. But this is where the genius of Shopify Rebellion comes into play. Remember, simple fundamentals are the name of the game. And in this round, that fundamental is playing together. Let's take a second to zoom out and look at player positions in order to see if we can figure out what Shopify are going to do. Right now, Shopify have players Fireplace, Mining, Fireplace Window, Piano Window, and what do you even call this area on Cafe? Take that, Pendy, I win. Anyways, Spoit is sitting there. So with all the pieces in place, where do Shopify want to go? Well, Ambi is sitting Piano Window specifically to stop anyone upstairs from retaking control of the hatch. But the rest of the team is set up in an arc around Reading, ready to crunch together and pull off a pincer onto site. The point is to overwhelm the defenders, making sure your team has numbers in a part of the map where your opponents don't. This sort of teamfight can usually only be stopped by the other team getting a whole lot of players involved. And with Cloud9 still dispersed across the top floor of the map, for them, this looks likely to end any way but well.
Yeah, the pace doesn't stop, but when Cloud9 control the top floor, how are you really going to make an execute work? Still full control of Cocktail, full control of up above the bomb site, and below the site too. I mean, Giddy holding white stairs at the moment, but if they really want to, could go for a rotate down if it ends up being a mining push. So lots of options still for Cloud9. Shopify Rebellion, while it's good pace at the moment, they don't actually have the map control that you would expect them to get before going for a push. Maybe it doesn't matter though.
There go the smokes. Surf eliminating Silent Hat is also on the ground. Toxic gas will go out. Giddy's expended all of it. Dream's the next to die. SR's 2 kills away from another flawless round, and they will get it.
Flipping now to the defense, the next fundamental I want to talk about is first positions. This is something which drives me crazy in ranked, because in a lot of the stacks I play with, everyone just starts the round and spends the entire time sitting in sight. But here, Shopify give us an excellent example of how you should actually play the start of rounds inside of Siege. One thing that's unique about Siege compared to other 5v5 competitive shooters is that the defense starts with control of the entire map, with the bomb site being only a relatively small portion they need to actively defend. The thing is, attackers usually need to gain a foothold in order to start their attacks, and if you can prevent them from ever getting in, it can be a huge advantage for your team. So what Shopify do is stack players close on the entries they know the attack will want to exploit. They don't plan to stay, they don't need to, but they want to force the attack to use up utility to make them move before falling back to their late round power positions later in the round. Here's how that looks in practice. Canadian and Surf start down below, holding control of the space they want to use to threaten C4s later in the round. Because they're here, Cloud9 can't take below, but that isn't all they do. Back upstairs, Surf starts in Cigar Shop. He hides behind the desk, with the point being that C9 need to send drones at him to remove him as a threat. If they drone him, he can shoot it and likely be able to leave. But if not, he has the potential to be a huge problem for the attack. The round starts, and Cloud9 are forced to spend almost 2 minutes to even start getting in the building.
It's very obvious the difference in pacing between these two teams' attacks.
Hat tries repelling in Piano, where he's shut down by a swing from Spoit, before the rest of C9 tried dropping Rat right into the waiting arms of the as-yet undroned Surf.
That's a tough one to lose early. I think maybe hoping the Candelas would save him, but not against a Warden.
A little bit too early there, and yeah, wrong operator to try to pull that one off on. Surf's at a great spot, and he jumps up, takes care of Kobilax's 10th kill. Oh my, 11, he's tied the tally of the entire rest of his team at this point. And guess what? He's gonna drop right back down and get another, my God! This is Surf's world, and we're just living in it.
Surf shuts them down, punishing Cloud9 for their failure to drone or use utility to push him back, dismantling them as they attempt to force the choke points at the entrance of the building. Now, in the 1v5, there's precious little Silent is able to do.
Could it be a third flawless round for Shopify Rebellion in just this match alone? Silent is the last remaining player on C9. His entry over towards Cigar, taken care of by a Kiba barrier. Now he heads towards the middle floor, over by Pillar with a read. He trades, no flawless round.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, leave a comment, and subscribe. Thank you to DuckDuck for your help in making these videos, and yeah, I'll see you all very soon.